Baron Shatteron has two daughters. One is cheerful and sociable, with soft, golden hair. Anastasia, the older sister, is like a princess, while the other is tall like a boy. All the tattered younger sister, Marie, did was read books. The Shatteron family was poor. Every day, there was a mountain of housework to be done. Meals for the family must be prepared as well. And while they ate at the dinner table, Marie consumed scraps alone in the kitchen. She also did her father's work, balancing the accounts and signing documents in his stead. But it was all right. Tomorrow was her birthday. Surely it'd be a good day. The next day, their little brother Cedric gleamed at Anastasia's beauty. The Baron stood up to announce his daughter Anastasia was the star of today's event, and everyone clapped. Of course, it could never be Marie. Today was also the debut party for her sister to find someone to marry among the great houses. Marie got shoved as the men swarmed around Anna, but seeing her run off, Anna was worried about her. Marie lived an empty life in the shadow of her sister. Staring at her reflection in a puddle, she wondered why she was born so horribly ugly. She jolted with the man behind informing her he was invited to the birthday party. His servant behind, named Mio, informed him this girl was not a maid, as the Shatterons only had one 60-year-old maid. Figuring Marie was one of the sisters, Cyrus apologized, sparkling before her. She had to talk to this pretty boy, asking if he was the guest from the Ipsandros Republic. And yes, his mother was apparently a traveling performer from there. Marie was so excited, she really started yapping, pointing out his clothes were traditional formal wear, something she'd learned from the books she read. He thought it was a little strange that she studied Ips culture, since this country was so insular. To this, she'd ramble further, bringing up that once a person realized the depth of Ipsandrian technology and culture, they were instantly captivated by it. He got excited, sharing that his wardrobe and underclothes were also made of Ips silk, making her giggle, calling him quite fashionable. She loved the stories from his nation, such as the Raggedy Red Cat. It was the tale of an abandoned cat that traveled with a kindly wanderer, growing stronger along the way. She felt she could relate because of her red hair. She stopped her clamoring, remembering her father shouting at her, "A woman who makes a show of her knowledge was an embarrassment." She apologized for her shamefulness and tried to run off, but Cyrus would call for her. When she turned back, she saw eyes more beautiful than any star. How could he be so wonderful? He must be here to propose to her sister. Tears welled up in her eyes, believing she was comparatively much less. Cyrus thought he upset her by mistaking her for a servant, but we know that wasn't it. Looking at her unglamorous clothing, he wondered why she wasn't wearing something fancy, and she smiled, telling him she just simply wasn't lovely, that's all. She tried to run off again, but he'd grab her, saying to her face, "You are beautiful." But she'd only respond by telling him the evening star was in the salon, and she ran all the way to the shed she was forced to live in, aching because she'd always longed to hear those words from someone. She wondered why she felt so sad. 1 month after that terrible birthday, a letter with a marriage proposal arrived. Count Granado was calling to marry Anastasia, and the Baron was excited to hear his daughter would be marrying upward. The Count was the son of Duke Granado. The family was extremely wealthy, and Anastasia would be able to live more lavishly than the monarch of a small country. Anna seemed reluctant, but her father commanded Marie to hurry up and pen a reply. He wanted her to inform their relatives and any neighboring nobility. Anna would later express her grievances to Marie about marrying a man whose face she barely remembered. She also heard Count Granado was a bad-tempered eccentric who hated women. That aside, Anna was excited to show Marie clothes that would fit her well, since she was so tall. These clothes were made for women who wanted to cross-dress as men. Anna absolutely loved to see beautiful women dressed as men. She loved dashing ladies. She made these outfits herself. Marie had no idea her older sister had interests like this. If their family could no longer sustain itself someday, Anna considered opening a shop in the royal capital. She hoped her beloved sister would make the most of her skills and do work that she loved. This touched Marie. She loved Anna, too, but on her way to marry the Count, she lost her life in an accident. Marie stared at the copy of The Raggedy Red Cat that Anna used to always read to her. She was suddenly struck by her mother, telling her she should have been the one to die, and beat Marie, asking why she was alive and not Anna. She blamed Marie for Anna's death, but the Baron stopped his wife, because he didn't want her to leave marks. The mother intended to leave scarring so no one would ever look at Marie's face ever again. However, he couldn't let that happen, because Marie had to take Anna's place. He explained that even though she was hideous, he already sold everything that was sent to them for the betrothal. He wanted Marie to exploit the Count for being heartbroken over the loss of Anna. As long as she created just one night of comfort, they'd win. Telling Marie this was how she could atone, she wondered what crime did she commit, soon accepting that being born lowly as the reason. On the carriage ride there, the father told her to be docile and amenable, and with her agreeing with a smile, he told her even her smile was unlovable, and that it would have been better for her to have died instead of Anastasia. He later shouted at the guard Thomas, demanding to be let into the palace because he sent a letter in advance. Mio came out, telling the Baron a letter sent this morning was far too soon, causing him to get violent. But Mio would turn the tables on him. Marie bowed, apologizing on behalf of her father. The guard and maid thought the bow of contrition was way too fluid. Now seeing who she was, Mio told Thomas to send a message to their master immediately. Welcoming her in, they found Cyrus shouting at Thomas, commanding they send Marie away, because the one he wanted to propose to was Anastasia, not the younger sister. He wished he had whisked Anna away that night. But now seeing the woman he was looking for, things got a little awkward. Marie couldn't believe he was the man she met that night. The Baron tried explaining what happened, and Cyrus had no idea that the taller redhead was actually the younger sister Marie. With her father mocking her looks, Cyrus scowled at him. He knew his look was unseemly and told Marie to spend the night in comfort here. Getting served tea, Marie was excited to talk about the special spices from the Republic, ginger and cinnamon, that provided health benefits. She thought it was truly wonderful, making Mio giggle, thinking Marie was adorable. Cyrus then entered, explaining he told the Baron there was no need to return the gifts, and they could be offered to Anastasia's grave. He wanted to know if Marie's family had been abusing her, causing her to jolt. While they didn't give her much affection, she assumed it was because they were training her. She had a really low self-esteem, answering her parents were strict, so a know-nothing like her could survive. She tried to assure the Count, but he'd quickly tell her to call him Cyrus. He didn't like to be called by his family name or title. He then questioned if she wasn't mistreated, then why was she dressed so shabby on her birthday? Clothes like those were normally worn by widows and nuns. It was a color meant to turn men away. Was she trying to become a nun? Or did she hate men? Was she unhappy with her family? Marie didn't answer right away, just reflecting on everything. It wasn't the life she wanted, but she never entertained any hope of escaping that place. With her responding that she just simply wasn't lovely, Cyrus called Mio to take Marie away. She assumed she was being cast out, but turns out Mio was taking her to a bath and getting a new change of clothes. Walking outside, Marie observed the estate to be large and beautiful. She had never seen a bath before, wondering how much firewood and water it used. Aha! Now she assumed they were going to have her chop firewood and clean, as a way for her to wash away all the discourteousness she's shown. She thought of Cyrus as certainly magnanimous. She was then greeted by Tunica, the keeper of the baths. She knew many bathing methods and massages that were good for health and beauty. Marie was startled, having no idea when Tunica took her clothes off. They then informed her this bath was for her to be beautified, and Marie enjoyed the warm water infused with salt, honey, and citrus fruits. Cyrus was getting impatient waiting for his fiancé, and when she stepped out, she was dazzling. She saw herself in the mirror and couldn't believe she could be this beautiful. Cyrus was flush, taken aback by her. He called for Lulu, his mother. Examining Marie, she remarked he was more swayed by good looks than she thought. He wanted his mother to take this seriously, since the head of the family's approval was necessary for marriage between nobles. The mother answered, "No good," seeing Marie was overwhelmingly lacking in confidence. The future wife of a duke must stand proudly, noble, and strong, at least before the wedding day. He was glad to hear his mother was going to do what she could to help. Mio congratulated Marie. The Duchess had approved her betrothal to Lord Cyrus, and she was now officially engaged to him. Everyone cheered, congratulating the two, but Marie would shout she couldn't do this. I think this series definitely has an interesting start. Very Cinderella-esque in a way. I'm pretty curious to find out what's up with Marie's parents. Subscribe to keep up with next week's part. But for now, watch this next video. It's me, ComfyTea. I'll see you all in the next one.